Absolutely. They kind of aggressive. All of those Greenstalks were not gifted to me. It was not a great idea. I can go without it. Hello, welcome to Yellow Door Urban Homestead. I am Asia and I'm an urban gardener growing in a small space out in my backyard. So today we're doing a Q&A. It's probably gonna be a two-parter. I put up a post over the weekend and I asked if anybody had any questions related to gardening, my life, anything, YouTube and whatever they had questions about. And I figured we could get to know each other over a cup of coffee or tea or water or juice or wine, whatever you want to have right now. So I want to get into a Q&A with y'all. I haven't done a Q&A in I don't know how long, but I thought that it would be a good time to do that. But before we get into the Q&A, I want to tell you about this new espresso machine that I got. A company called Garvee, G-A-R-V-E-E, sent it to me, and there's going to be a link down in the description, and I'm pretty sure there's a discount code as well for you. But y'all, I was very excited when they reached out to me because it has a grinder. If you remember, I was telling you I have a grinder that I was using for coffee, but I originally purchased it to grind my herbs up. And so I didn't want to use it for coffee and herbs because I didn't want the coffee taste to get into the herbs, but I wanted to be able to grind my coffee whenever I got ready to, right? So I was so excited when they reached out. I have probably been using this for maybe a week and a half because I wanted to use it, make sure that I liked it before I told y'all about it. So if you're looking for a coffee machine that has a grinder, this one has been working really well for me. Also, it has a water reservoir on the back. So you fill it up with water. It's 2.8 liters. You fill it up with water, and then you don't have to worry about getting water for your espresso machine every morning. Additionally, it comes with everything that you need. So it comes with the tamper. It comes with the little thing that the coffee beans go in. I have no idea what it's called. It comes with the little cup that you use for your milk. It also has a setting where you could just get hot water. So if you're a tea drinker, you could get it out of here as well. So I am really enjoying it. There's only one thing that I'm like, about, and that's it's a pause in between when you turn the frother on and when the frother actually starts to froth. But that's not a big deal for me. Other than that, I actually love it. Oh, also it comes with like a little pin. So if your frother gets clogged up, you can use the pin to unclog it. Also comes with a brush in case you need to clean out a small space. I am really enjoying it. I'm so happy that they reached out to me. So thank you, Garvee, for sending that to me. And like I said, if you're interested, if you've been looking for an espresso machine that also comes with a grinder, this one has been really good for me. And there's gonna be a link down in the description if you are interested. But let's get into this Q&A. There was one question. Hold on, I'm gonna drink a little bit of my coffee. I saved my second cup of coffee for today for this video. But anyway, there was one question that really stood out to me, and I want that to be the first question that I answer. And I believe the question was, what do you want people to take from your channel? Listen, when I started gardening, y'all, there were so many rules, and I was trying to follow those rules because I was like, that's how I'm gonna be super successful in doing this. And I told y'all in my last video, I am like a serial hobbyist. And so I was like, if I'm going to be successful in this, if this is gonna work well, I'm gonna have to follow all of these rules. What I want you to take from my channel is garden the way that you want to garden. If something does not work, just don't do it again next year. And you can follow the rules or you cannot follow the rules, and you can be chill about gardening. Gardening is a science to an extent, right? Yes. So your soil has to feed your plant. Does it have to be a specific soil? No. Do you have to have a specific fertilizer? No. Do you have to do things at the exact same time every time? No. So what I want people to take from my channel is that anybody can garden. But the one thing is, it doesn't have to be stressful. And it doesn't have to be so specific. You can actually have fun with gardening. That's what I want people to take from my channel, because I know I was just like, well, I did this and I did that and this didn't work and that didn't work. And if you think about it, everybody that you're getting information from, every source that you're getting information from is not in your backyard. So I want people to take, it does not have to be hard, and do what you want to do in your garden. I wanted to answer that immediately. And I feel like I want to add to that. I am very chill and laid back as it relates to my garden, right? If you are new here, you may see a pest eating my whole entire plant, and I'm not going to do nothing about it. Sometimes I'm just not going to do anything about it. Also, if I do something about it and it's not working, I'm just going to wait and see what nature is going to do. And if the plant dies, then I'll try it again next year, and maybe I'll try something different. But I just don't stress gardening. And I don't want other people to feel like, oh, this is way too much, I'm not gonna do it. Because you literally can grow a lot of food in a small backyard, on acres, on a patio, wherever you can grow food. My whole thing is, I want it to be a channel that was not to the book, because I'm not to the book. And there are a lot of channels out there like that. I want it to be one of them. All right, next question that I remember seeing, which kind of goes along with what I just said, is how did I decide that I didn't want to use pest control in my garden? So my thought is, for me, I'm already not a healthy eater, right? And I also have, so if you ask this question, this is the answer to your question. I also have a bad habit. And so with that being the case, I decided that the food that I'm growing that I can control, I would prefer not to use pest prevention. And so with that being the case, I decided I'm just not gonna use pest prevention. I also really like, and I know somebody gonna be like, that's weird. I also really like to see nature working. So for instance, if you are a gardener, or if you're not, honestly, let me just explain it. If you are a gardener, you know what a tomato hornworm is. If you are not, it is a big old worm. I mean, it's huge. If I could find a picture, I'll put it on the screen. It is huge, y'all. And it will eat a whole tomato plant in a day, right? But there are these things called parasitic wasps, and they come in and they will lay their eggs onto that caterpillar and it will end up dying. And like, for me, I just think it is interesting to see how nature does what nature will do. Like, for instance, last year, I had no idea that just like a regular wasp will also eat like cabbage moths. I happened to be sitting out in my garden. Another reason why I love having sitting spaces in the garden. Happened to be sitting out over by the chicken area. And I looked up, if you remember, I kept a lot of my fall crops and like the cool crops, and I left them for the chickens. When it started to get warm, I would see the wasps coming in and grabbing those caterpillars. So I also really like to see how nature does what nature is supposed to do. And so that's another reason. So because I'm not very healthy in the first place, I want my food to be as natural as possible that I grow. And also I like to see what nature does. So that's how I decided that I did not want to use pest control. Also, if you watch Jess from Roots and Refuge, she was one of the motivating factors in me like saying, I could do this, because she made it seem so simple, right? She tells this story about her garden spider. She had a garden spider, and then she decided to spray, and the spider wasn't there anymore. I don't mind spiders in my garden. The one thing that I mind is a snake. I have never seen a snake in the garden. I always say, if I see a snake, he can have a garden, she can have a garden. I feel that way, but as much as I love gardening, I feel like I would call somebody to come get the snake, and then I would just be very, you know, like iffy or whatever for a few weeks, but I would still go back outside because I really do. I don't know what I would do if I wasn't gardening. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Like, my kids say it all the time. My son, when I'm watching gardening videos, he be like, Mom, this 6 years. And I'm like, yes, because it's what I do. And he was like, I wish I could find something that I love that much. I really do love gardening. So I say, if I see a snake, I wouldn't go back out there. I don't think it's true. In my mind, I feel like it's true, but in my heart, I'm like, it's no way I wouldn't go back outside to garden. Okay, someone asked the question, and I think I saw this question more than once. What inspired me to begin gardening? Does it spark joy with me? Absolutely. And how did my family react when I began, and did they join? Okay, so the reason why I started gardening was in 2020 when we couldn't leave our houses. My daughter was younger and had a lot of energy. And so my thought was, maybe we could start a garden. She was also very healthy eater. She still is a healthy eater. She still eats stuff that I don't eat, and I still grow things for her that I don't eat, like cantaloupe. So I was like, okay, we could just start a garden. That way we could still be at home, but we won't be inside of the house. And so we started one garden bed. It was really for her, but then I started tasting things out of the garden. Also, that year was absolutely terrible, but for some reason, just seeing a few things grow and us being able to taste a few things, I was like, oh yeah, we doing this. And then I decided to just start adding other beds. But yeah, that's how I started gardening, because of my daughter. And to answer the other part of your question, how does my family feel? My children, they think that it's cool that I have something that I like to do at this point, because I spend like the summertime, well, let's say spring, early summer, I'll spend all day outside in the garden. I will get up in the morning and spend the whole day outside, come in to get something to eat or to cool off, get something to drink, and I spent all day out there. So my family doesn't mind, like immediate family in the house with me. The rest of my family thinks it's so cool and they are able to try things that they haven't tried before. Like my mother, she tried Swiss chard out of my garden, and now she is wanting to grow Swiss chard, and she'll be like, do you have any Swiss chard? So yeah, they think it's cool. My sister thinks that it's cool. Actually, her boyfriend, somebody I guess was talking to, because he loves my channel, and he was telling somebody about it, and someone had seeds. So he just gave me a bunch of seeds, and my sister was like, when you grow it, can we have some? So they love the fact that I am doing it. They think it's very cool. Do they join in? Absolutely not. I did get my mom to start a garden. She has started a garden. My daughter was all in until I made it a whole garden, like the whole backyard. She don't fool with it now. She said my garden looked like The Shining in the summer. So she doesn't. Oh, and for some reason at some point she got scared of bees, and she does not like being out there with the bees. Now she'll sit on the back porch. She'll talk to me. Sometimes she'll come down and even come in the garden. But no, nobody is really joining in. Which I saw another question that said, would I want my kids to participate a little more? So yes and no. My son, if I need him to lift something, move something, help me with something, he's gonna help. So I guess they do join in when I need them to, right? My daughter, she'll come out there, be making all kind of noise, hollering because of the bees, that kind of stuff. So yes, I like having them out there with me and us spending time together. No, because sometimes it is not quiet, and in the garden is very much a place for peace for me. And I have said it several times before, that like I can have something on my mind in the garden, and the more I'm out there, like I don't have it on my mind anymore, and I can just feel the weight lifted off of me. So to answer your question, they don't really join in, and if they don't join in, it doesn't really bother me, if that makes sense. All right, let's see. What is my gardening weakness? Overwatering is one of them, because sometimes, especially when it gets like really hot here, I feel like, I need to water. But that is where me putting mulch on the garden is very helpful to me, because without mulch, I can see the top of the soil, and the top of the soil might look super dry, right? With mulch, I can't really see it, which will make me do the finger test. So my weakness is overwatering, I think. I think another weakness of mine is overseeding when it comes to starting seeds. So with that being the case, this year I have been very conscious not to plant too many seeds, because when I plant too many seeds, I get too many seedlings, and then when I have too many seedlings, I want to plant them all. So that's another one of my garden weaknesses. But I think that's probably it. I'm trying to think to make sure, like, that's my overwatering is for sure a garden weakness of mine. And what top life lesson have I learned from the garden? It's to chill, it's to relax. About life in some cases. Like with the garden, if a plant dies, I'm like, oh, it died, I'll try again later, or I'll plant another one, whatever. I feel like with life, the same thing. When I was working, and there are questions about me working. They may come in the second video. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. When I was working, I was very high strung because I was very stressed, right? And so things that didn't really matter much, I maybe made them into something that mattered more than they did. I think the garden helps me to learn that just like with the plant in the garden, most things in life aren't gonna matter in 5 years. Like they're not gonna matter in 5 years. May not matter 5 hours from the time that it happened. And so I feel like I'm much more chill and relaxed at this point as it relates to the garden for sure. And I think I'm getting there with life too. Okay, so someone said stinging insects, wasps, hornets, or spiders terrify me. I had a garden plot last season and I'm so proud of myself for growing and tending the land. But those 2 insects really did it for me. Any advice on navigating these fears? So what I will say is in most cases, they are out there, they are flying around, they are not worried about you. Now, wasps and hornets, I will say, I let them have whatever area they're in and then I just come back. Cause wasps will, they kind of aggressive. And hornets, I'm just scared of them because like they're really big and I haven't done any research. But my thought is if they sting me, like that's gonna be a serious sting. So for me, I am scared of them, but when I see them or if they're in my space, if I'm in their space, I just leave the space and I go and do something else and then I will come back. So I don't know how to help you with the fear because I am also scared of them. I just leave the space and I come back to do whatever I was going to do later. But in a lot of cases, they're not worried about you. Like they're not coming to sting you. They just happen to be in that space where you are, which is why I just leave the space. So somebody asked me, and I feel like these questions are kind of together. I've gotten the question of what would I do different if I was starting my garden all over? And then I've got the question is what would I do to simplify my garden, which I feel like are kind of the same questions. So if I was starting my garden all over, I will tell you one thing, I would make my walkways bigger. I have said that before. I just was trying to squeeze everything in. I had never really thought about grow bags, which have very much extended my grow space at this point. So they're in the walkways, which makes the walkways even smaller. So when I want to take my gorilla cart in there, I actually can't. I could if the grow bags weren't there, but I'm not giving up my grow bags. So I would make my walkways a little bit bigger so that I can move things through them easily without having to move the bags. Like when we put the wood chips down, we had to take every bag out because there was no way that we were going to be able to get the gorilla cart down the aisle and dump it. So I would make my walkways bigger. I also would have really planned my orchard area. So now that I have figured out what I think is going to work, what I thought I wanted was just this wild space. I didn't want that wild space. I would have rethought my orchard area. I will also tell you, when I first built my garden, my kids didn't want me to use the other side of the yard. So if I had been able to plan my garden with the whole yard in mind, I think it would have looked different, but at the same time, it allowed me to slowly add on and to honestly do it a little more efficiently so that I wasn't leaving big spaces and big gaps. And so I think that it kind of worked out and it made me have to actually make things fit. And now I have like a lot of garden beds that I think if I had a lot of space, I wouldn't have done it that way. But yes, like the walkways would have been wider and I really would have thought through the orchard. Because if I'm honest, like redoing that orchard, that's gonna be some work. I'm gonna have to dig up trees, then dig another hole wide enough to put that tree in. This is gonna be a lot of work. But that orchard has provided for me. And so I'm not complaining, but just answering the question that I absolutely would have rethought that orchard area. Oh, someone asked how many Greenstalks I have. I have 14. And I remember a question, it was a while ago, I never got back to answer it. Someone asked, why did I start growing in Greenstalks? So for me, number one is I have always wanted one. I have wanted a Greenstalk since I started gardening. I was looking at the price and I was just like, I don't know if it's worth it. And so I didn't buy one. Last year, like April, I finally decided I'm going to buy a Greenstalk. And I purchased my first Greenstalk. The original reason is because I wanted one. The second reason is because on the other side of the garden, the dog roams. She roams. So I couldn't put a bunch of garden beds because she would get in them, especially if I did a no-dig bed. She would get in the beds. And so I am now able to grow on that side of the yard, also not take up all of her space. She doesn't mind not having a lot of space. My dog, for whatever reason, she likes to kind of be in confined spaces. So for instance, if we have our legs, like we're sitting on the couch and we have our legs on the table, she will come and sit under our legs. There's a chair in my room. If we pull it off the wall and sit in it, she will go under the chair. She loves being in the quick tent greenhouse. She likes to be in confined spaces. So it doesn't bother her, but she does have to have space to walk and, you know, run and things like that. And so that little walkway going from the house to the fence, she'll run up and down there. But she also just like weaves in and out of the Greenstalks. So reason why I decided on as many as I have is because there's more places for me to plant in, but I'm not taking up a lot of space. And so that's the reason why I grow in Greenstalks. I know some people are not big fans of me adding them to my garden. And for that, I say, I understand, but it is my garden and I absolutely love those things. So with that being said, and all of them were not given to me. It seems that some people think that they were all gifted to me. All of those Greenstalks were not gifted to me. I am affiliated with Greenstalk, and that's how affiliates work. If they want to gift you something, they will. But I have paid for some of those Greenstalks. I have paid for just about all of the lids. I have paid for all of my spinner bases. I paid for stuff too. I support them too because I love their product, just so you know. All right, let's see. What advice do I have for beginner gardeners? So, advice I have, do your research for sure, because doing some research is better than doing none and not having the best garden season, right? But at the same time, I would say do what you want to do and make note of what worked for you. That would be my main thing. The other thing that I would say is make sure you know where your sun comes from, because having enough sun on a plant versus not, that can also make or break your season. So know where your sun is, and then just, you know, do your research, but have fun, y'all. Like literally have fun with what you're doing. Also, remember, garden beds are movable. No dig beds are movable. You can pick up soil, you can pick up garden beds, and you can move them. What you decide does not have to be permanent. So that's the same thing like I'm learning with my orchard area right now. I decided to do that. It was not a great idea. And so now I do have to put in a little bit of work. I have to put in a little bit of work to fix it, but it can be redone. So I would say don't take gardening too serious, because for me, and I've said this before, unless it is literally the only way your family is really being able to eat, then, you know, you take it as serious as you need to. For me, this is me supplementing the grocery store, but it's not the only thing that we eat. And so with that being said, I would say have fun with it. That's it. I think the more fun you have with it, the more things you kind of try, the more things that work, it makes it exciting to you. At least to me. I can't say what it would do, because some people like to have structure. I can go without it. I was in structure so long where I worked, and so now this is my job. And with that being said, I don't care to have a lot of structure. I do have structure when I'm, you know, doing my videos and getting them edited and things like that. But as it relates to like actual gardening, I just want to have fun, y'all. Which, by the way, that'll lead me into another question I got, which was, what did I do before I started doing YouTube full time? I was a program and operations manager for local government and finance. So if you've ever listened to my videos where I said, not good at math, I don't like math, I don't even know how I ever got into finance. Well, I do. I went for a cashiering job. I got the cashiering job, and then it just, over those 17, almost 18 years, I just kept moving up. And it wasn't the math. I'm being silly when I say that. It wasn't the math why I left. Someone did ask me, how did I know it was time for me to leave my corporate job? Well, I will tell you, which I never really went into detail about this before. It was already very stressful. We were already working, I mean, long hours, well past 8 hours, which when you get into a position like that, you know you're gonna work well past 8 hours. But we were working like 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, getting up and still going to work by 8. And so we were on a meeting one day. And someone in upper management, what do they call it? Executive leadership, whatever you call it, essentially called me a name. And I was like, it's literally no way I'm gonna be working all of these hours and like this stressed out to be called a name on a meeting. And it wasn't like super derogatory, but it was being done to basically tell me to be quiet. And I was like, no, absolutely not. And literally that same day, I let people know, like people that needed to know, people I was close to at work. It was 2 people. I told them I'm not coming back here tomorrow. And so I had a plan though, y'all. I was already feeling, I don't know what the word is. I was already feeling like this is not gonna work. And I told you in the video when I left my job, like my anxiety was so high. It was so high every day. So I had already decided like, I don't think I'm gonna be here much longer. And so I did have a plan, which is why I'm able to do this right now. And to anybody who may be thinking about doing this, make sure you have a plan. I did a video over on my essentially Asia, which I'm coming back, y'all. I promise I'm coming back. And I talked about that. I would not have left without a plan because that would have been very stressful. Okay, I don't know how we got there. I was trying to lead from one question to another. But and someone asked me what was my degree in. It's in information technology, business applications. Oh, somebody was asking about how I do YouTube and garden. So the way that I do it is I have days that I record. Monday I record, Wednesday I record, Friday I record. Probably not the best thing because I have to record that day, edit that day, put it up. But it's the way that I can have a little bit of time where I know I don't have to record. And I go out into the garden on the days that I record, but I'm also in the garden on the days that I don't. And on the days that I don't record, I just share it the next time that I record, right? Whatever I did. And if it is something that I really think people need to know, I may record on that day that I'm out there, but then it opens up a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. But I don't, and I also try to remember everything doesn't have to be recorded, right? You don't have to record everything that you do just because you have a YouTube channel. Like in the mornings when I go outside to have my coffee, to feed the chickens, to give them treats, just to kind of roam, I don't record that time because I need to keep this fun even though it is still my job. So to that I would say, pick days that you record, and then on the days that you don't, as much as you can, don't record. Just go outside and work in your garden. If you decide that you want to record like everything, just decide that you don't need to record everything. And then you won't feel the stress of I'm not really gardening because I'm trying to record and then I'm trying to edit. I'll come on a video and say, this is what I did yesterday and I didn't record it. Just because I need this to still be fun and I still need the garden to feel like my place of peace and not my place of work. Oh, also, if I'm talking too fast, YouTube has an option to slow it down. I do talk fast sometimes, but I'm not going to try to change that because it's just how I talk. But you can't slow me down if you need to. Oh, I'm gonna end with this one because we're at 30-some minutes, and then the next video will be about 30 minutes again, and then that should be all of the questions. So someone asked me, what would I be doing if I was not doing YouTube as my job? So listen, when I left my job, I made it possible that I wouldn't have to go get a job that was like that job. Nowhere near that. I wouldn't have to manage people because I don't want to do that either. In my previous job, I managed 3 or 4 managers, something like that, which means they had a team Absolutely not. What I would like to do, there's two things that I would love to do if I were to go and find another job. One is I love event planning, right? I don't want to be the main person. Sounds stressful. I don't want a stressful job. But I would love to be like maybe the assistant to someone who does event planning. I love to see things come together. Even when I was at my job, like when we were having, like parties, birthday parties or baby showers or whatever, I was like one of the main people to set up for retirement parties. I love doing that kind of thing. So if I was not doing YouTube, I would love to do event planning. The other thing is I love a good museum. Now, I feel like I would like to work there, but I don't know how long I would last because it's like a very quiet environment and things like that. But I think I would also love to work in a museum. So if I wasn't doing this, first thing is I would love to do event planning. Second thing is I think I would like to work in a museum. So that is part one of my Q&A. You can still go and leave comments. It's over in, it used to be called community, but when you go to it now, it's called post. If you have a question, feel free to leave it. I am going to try to get all of the questions that I can and feel like I want to answered between this video, which will come out Wednesday, and Friday's video, because Monday we're on 10 weeks from our last frost and we're gonna be starting seeds again. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to visit me over on Instagram, where I post about the things going on in my garden almost every day. Bye, y'all.